Well, former chairman of the White House Council of Economic Advisors, Tomas Philip, joins us, and the senior research fellow at the American Institute for Economic Research, Paul Mueller. Gentlemen, good to have both of you with us. Tomas, we'll start with you. Americans, they just got a permanent tax cut. That's good. Workers getting no taxes on tips. That's good. Overtime pay. A new standard deduction for seniors. Billions for the border wall. Money for the Golden Dome, national defense system, and the list goes on and on and on. Why are Democrats so upset about all of this?
Exactly. So don't listen to, the mainstream media, even economists, don't listen to them. What you should listen to is the markets. Look how the markets are reacting to this news, essentially. It's booming out there, essentially. And this is the same thing we saw in 2017, essentially. It's deja vu of the naysayers saying the 2017 tax cuts was going to not increase the income of the poor, even though it raised it by $6,000 roughly. It was just going to benefit the rich, which actually grew less in income than the poor at the time. And CBO at the time, just as they are now, said a tax cut is going to drastically reduce revenue to the Treasury, even though it actually increased it overall afterwards. So this is, a familiar pattern, and it's being repeated now, just as in 2017.
Paul, the president said that the Triple B delivers huge victories for family farmers, ranchers, and homeowners as well. Let's listen.
Our bill will provide 100% expensing so they can buy a new farm equipment. And by the way, the expensing is good for everybody, not just farmers. And it'll virtually eliminate the so-called estate tax or the death tax. So you have a farm, you leave it to your children. If you like the children, you leave it. If you don't worry about the details.
All right, Paul, what do you think about what the president just said there?
Well, I think he highlights one of the most important parts of the bill. In addition to making permanent the tax cuts from 2017, this expensing has been expanded to manufacturing, new manufacturing plants, as well as farms. And that's going to have a stimulative effect in the sense of it's going to increase economic activity, increase investment in these different areas. So that is a very, what we might call supply side part of the policy that's going to boost growth over time. And so I think a lot of people are going to be very happy with that. You're going to see people making different decisions now, more investment decisions, because they can expense that on their taxes. And so that part is good. The spending side is much more mixed.
All right, Tomas, you got NEWSMAX viewers right now watching us in Tulsa, Oklahoma. They're wondering, all right, so how are my taxes going to be impacted by the Triple B? How do you respond to those folks?
Well, look at where they would be if we didn't pass this bill, right? If we actually did not have the tax cuts of 2017 continued, it would have been a massive tax increase. What people should be aware of, you hear the Democrats saying this is a tax cut for the rich, and we're dropping the safety net essentially, as well with Medicaid. Both those claims are wrong. The way you stimulate workers' wages is for firms to bid for those workers. Labor demand is the only way to raise wages. And the way you make firms bid for workers is make a business-friendly environment, and that includes the expensing, the corporate tax cut that was actually permanent, but all the business-friendly measures in this bill that makes the companies want to go out there and hire workers. That's how you make workers better off.
Paul, to that point, small businesses here are really going to be impacted as well.
That's right. This expensing, the extension of the tax cuts is crucial. I think a lot of people, it's easy to forget what taxes were before the 2017 Taxes and Job Act. And so taxes were going to go up a lot. So this is going to continue to be good for business. I think many people have forgotten or underestimated how valuable the tax cuts from 2017 have been and how much of a tailwind that's been for the economy. There are a lot of people, myself included, who in 2022, 2023, even 2024 were a little bit worried about the economy, with what the Biden administration was doing and the way they were spending like crazy and other kinds of hamstringing of the economy. And yet we didn't really see a recession in those periods. And I think this favorable tax regime that promotes investment, that promotes employment, as Tomas was saying, is exactly the right thing. And so the Trump administration here, big picture, they're making a bet that this bill, the big beautiful bill, will stimulate and boost the economy, cause real growth and productivity increase, such that the spending cuts that didn't really materialize and the deficits that we're going to see over the next 10 years will be offset by that growth. And so that's what we're going to see. How much do we see growth through this bill, and is that going to outweigh the additional debt that the federal government was already on track to take on, and that this bill will continue them taking on?